I didn't know I was broadcasting. Perfect. All right. My name is Rebecca Jackson, and I am doing my learning teaching interaction for our lesson number 2, which goes over chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 16, 18, and appendix A of the Family Life Educator textbook. So to start off with chapter 1, it's just about the historical and philosophical perspectives. Sorry, lack of sleep. So FLE, it basically involves taking family science principles and practices to the general public in different educational settings, but not in the classroom. So it's everything outside of a classroom setting. The reflection questions were, what does it mean to me, or what does family mean to me? To me, family is based off traditional marriage of one man and one woman. When it can't be an ideal family situation for whatever reason, divorce, single parents. It's a family that's striving to be the most ideal that they can. And how important do I think family is? I think that family is fundamental to society and to the gospel. It's the foundation of where children should be raised and where marriage should be more of a priority, and it should be really, the family should be strengthened in all that we do. We should have our focus on strengthening family and the family relationship so that we have better families to raise children in. So how does FLE tie in with my beliefs about the family? I think that people need to be more dedicated to their family and striving to have the most ideal family they can, given their circumstances again. I think family life education is important to help empower people to want to be better and to do better. If you're able to educate and empower people concerning families, more people will be encouraged to strengthen families and family relationships. And I think that's really important, that people need to have the tools and the understanding of how to do it. I think that nobody goes into a family or a marriage wanting failure or wanting not to succeed or have a hard family life. So I think that it's important that they have the tools so that they can understand how to make their relationships better. And that goes back to the family life education. Through family life education, we can give them those tools and that education to help them in all of their relationships. Then it talked about all the different approaches that you could use. When I envision my workshop, I envision it taking a collaborator approach. I want to be knowledgeable about my subject matter and do all the research I can, but I also want to know how to learn from each other as well. The people I'll be teaching, they don't have the research background, but they have practical knowledge of what works in their marriage relationships and what doesn't work for them that they can share with people. So I think that's a great way to take everybody's input and be able to give the best workshop that you can. In chapter 2, it's about designing your program, and it talked a lot about how family life educators are preventive education rather than therapeutic. And I think that's just really important, that we need to make sure that we're doing preventative measures and not trying to do the therapy, because we're not certified for that at all. And if somebody does need the therapy part of it, that we can refer them to the sources that they need. So part of giving a preventative education is designing a successful program that the participants can benefit from. So it's important to identify the need of the target audience so you can best meet their need. If you don't know what the need is, you can't develop the program to meet their needs. So it's important to talk to your audience to give them an idea of what the program's about. Ask them if they have any insight, specific questions, or need guidance on how to solve any issues that they're currently facing. That way you can take, again, that collaborative approach and do the research and be able to really understand your audience and be able to have the program designed for what they need. Chapter 16 was about marketing family life, principles, practices, and programs. Mallory, can you help him, please? Sorry, my little boy's up from Ms. Navin, Audrey. So in this chapter, the one thing that stood out most to me was that participation in the family life education programs is way under involved. I think that a lot of people don't know that they're available, don't know where to look for them, don't know that there are options. And so I think marketing is really important to be able to really get to the people that your target audience. And because you can design the most perfect program ever, but if you don't market it and get it to the people that your audience is, then it's not going to be successful at all. They won't know that it's there, the program's available, they won't attend. But if you are able to meet their needs and really know what your target audience is, then you'll know how to reach them and how to let them know about this program. So as part of figuring out the needs of my audience, throughout the reading, I just thought I really need to send a questionnaire out to some of the participants that I want to have come and really address the concerns that they have. And sorry, I'm reading my notes. So that I can find the research to address those concerns, and also that I can understand their needs. So I'm going to hold 2 workshops for my workshop program. And the first one, I'm going to send out personal invitations to ladies in my ward or in my area that would benefit from my workshop. My workshop is about creating your happily ever after, with a focus on families that are in residency programs. My husband's finishing up his residency program this year, and so we're in an area that has a lot of women that their husbands are gone a lot and busy and being residents, and so it can create additional stress on marriages. And so I have one workshop geared towards that, and then my second workshop is just going to be more of a general workshop, not specifically the residency stresses. And so with that one, I'm just going to put up a flyer and put it in the Relief Society newsletter and talk to my bishop about it, about who he feels that would benefit from the program. Chapter 18 was about improving the practice of family life education. I think that it can be taken to the masses by developing a program that fits the needs of a specific target audience and then implementing that program. So for example, my program about having your happily ever after marriage, the importance of strengthening your marriage, has that emphasis on couples that are going through residency programs. So if I'm able to develop a great program, a great workshop, then that program and workshop can not only go for my audience here, but it can go to all the similar audiences that are just in a different area. So that's one way to be able to improve the practice of it, is to design a great program that can be taken other places. And then the other thing that they talked about a lot was program rigor, and how it's important because it sets us apart from just a group of moms sharing their parenting advice or their marriage advice or their family advice, because they don't have the research background, they don't have that understanding, they just know what works best for them, which is great. There's nothing against that, but as the FLE educator, you can benefit them more with all the research and the knowledge that you have and that you draw from other educators. In the appendix, I really liked all the principles. I just went over a few of them. The principle of order and how it applies to my workshop is one of the main points in my workshop is that marriage takes work. You have to invest in your marriage and be proactive to have your happily ever after. The principle of movement, life is movement. Marriage is not a fairy tale. It doesn't just happen. You have to invest in your marriage and work towards that happily ever after. The principle of goodness, I think that's really important to remember in our marriage, that your spouse isn't there to intentionally upset you, to do things to make you mad, and that you need to look for the good and know that he or she they have their best interest in mind and they are good people. And I think one of the really important ones is the principle of chaos. that expecting a Hollywood type ending in your marriage is not going to happen. That it's marriage is not like a movie or a fairy tale. If you want a happily ever after, you can have that, but you have to work towards that. You have to have realistic expectations of what that really is and what that means to you and how to create it. And then last is the principle of discovery and the principle of synergy. I think those go together really well, because not one person can know everything. And if you work together, instead of saying this is what I think we should do, this is my way or a highway, then you won't be able to discover new ways to do things. But if you work together, then you can figure things out and you can implement them into your marriage the best that you can. And I really enjoyed all this reading because I felt completely lost before reading and knowing what to do. And I felt like it gave me a lot of direction, and not specifically on my topic, but it more in general of how to develop the program and market it. And those principles are really great. And so I look forward to doing this. Thanks.